10 years ago, the world made sense. Alara Thorne stood in the training yard, watching her father move wooden pieces across a sand table. Cassius Thorne had the hands of a warrior and the mind of a poet. He positioned each carved wolf with precision, explaining patterns only he could see. "You are thinking 3 moves ahead," he told her. "But the master tactician thinks 10 moves ahead, 20 if he wants to survive." She was 15 then, barefoot in the dust, her hair still long and untamed. The northern sun painted everything gold, soldiers drilled in formation behind them. The rhythm of boots on packed earth became her heartbeat. "War is not chaos," her father said. "War is terrible art. The canvas is earth, the paint is blood, and the artist must have steady hands." He moved a piece representing cavalry, then another for archers. His fingers danced across the sand table like a conductor before an orchestra. "See how the enemy thinks you will flank left, so you feint left. But your real strike comes from terrain he considers impassable. The mountain pass he dismissed, the frozen river he thought too dangerous to cross." "How do you know what the enemy thinks?" she asked. "Because I study him. His victories, his defeats, his pride. Pride is the general's blindness, Alara. The moment a commander believes himself unbeatable, he has already lost." The memory fractured. Blood on sand. Her father's body crumpling before the Alpha King's throne. Not Kieran's throne then, his father's. The old king with eyes like winter and a heart to match. Cassius Thorne was executed for treason, for questioning orders, for seeing too much and speaking truth to power. The official report said he disobeyed direct commands during the Western campaign. The unofficial truth was darker. He had discovered something that demanded silence. Alara watched from the crowd as they took his head. She did not scream, did not cry. Her father had taught her better than that. "Emotion is information," he once said. "Never give your enemy information for free." So she stood silent while inside her world burned. The Alpha King's men came for her that same night. An Omega without family had no protection, no rights. She became property, passed from hand to hand until she landed in the grip of Demon Blackwood. Alpha Blackwood had a smile that never reached his eyes and hands that left bruises shaped like shame. He marked her throat in front of his entire pack, claimed her as possession, as object, as thing. For 5 years she endured, learned to make herself small, learned which footsteps meant safety and which meant suffering, learned that survival sometimes means swallowing your scream. But late at night, alone in whatever cold corner they permitted her, she remembered. Sand tables, wooden pieces, her father's voice. "Think 10 moves ahead." So she did. She studied guard rotations, memorized shift changes, noted which sentries drank too much and which took their duty seriously. She cataloged weak points in the compound walls, identified supply routes, observed weather patterns. For 5 years she gathered intelligence, stored it away, built her escape plan one detail at a time. And when the moment came, she took it. The night she ran, the moon hung full and bright. Snow covered the northern forest in silence. Her breath made white clouds in frozen air. Behind her, howls split the darkness. Demon's trackers, his hunters. His rage made manifest. She had stolen the master key during the evening meal, created a diversion by setting fire to the grain stores on the eastern side of the compound. While everyone ran to save the food supplies, she slipped out through the western postern gate. Her father's lessons guided her. Use terrain to your advantage. Rivers hide your scent. Dense underbrush slows larger pursuers. The tracked animal who thinks like the hunter survives. The howls grew closer. She could hear them crashing through snow behind her. Demon himself leading the hunt. His fury filled the forest like heat from a forge. She reached the cliffs above Blackwater River. Below, the current ran dark and fast. Ice clung to rocks along the banks. The drop was 30 feet at least. Survivable if you hit the water, fatal if you struck stone. Behind her, shapes emerged from trees. Wolves with silver eyes and teeth that gleamed in moonlight. Demon shifted to half form, massive, predatory. His voice came rough with barely contained beast. "Did you think you could run from me, little Omega? Did you think I would let my property escape?" She looked at the river, calculated odds, wind speed, current direction, ice placement. Then she jumped. The cold hit like a fist. Water filled her mouth, her lungs, her world. Current grabbed her and pulled. She did not fight it. Let it carry her downstream, away, away, away. She crawled onto the southern bank 2 miles down, gasping, shaking, alive. The moonlit tavern appeared through morning mist like something from a dream. 3 stories of dark timber and stone, smoke rising from multiple chimneys, light glowing warm in frosted windows. A sign creaked in the wind showing a silver moon over crossed swords. She had researched this place during her captivity, overheard travelers mention it. The tavern on the border where questions were not asked, where fugitives found shelter, where a certain king hid from his own crown. The door opened before she could knock. A woman stood in the frame, older, gray streaked through dark hair, eyes that assessed and calculated in a single glance. "You are freezing," the woman said. Her voice carried the flat practicality of someone who had seen suffering before and would see it again. "Come inside before you die on my doorstep. I just cleaned these stones." The interior overwhelmed her senses. Heat from a massive hearth, smell of roasted meat and fresh bread, voices murmuring in low conversation, men and women gathered at tables, some human, some wolf. The distinctions blurred here in ways that would be forbidden elsewhere. Every head turned when she entered. Conversation stopped mid-sentence. She stood dripping melted snow and river water onto polished floorboards. Then he rose from the shadows, tall enough to make average men feel small, broad through shoulders and chest, dark hair shot with silver at the temples. A scar curved from his left eyebrow to his jawline. His eyes were the color of molten amber, old gold, the kind prospectors killed for. He studied her with the intensity of a predator assessing prey, or perhaps a general surveying a battlefield. She could not tell which. "You are running from something," he said. His voice rolled like distant thunder, deep enough to feel in your chest. Not a question, a statement. Alara lifted her chin despite the cold making her bones ache. "I need shelter." "From what?" "From whom," she corrected, "and that is my business." His expression shifted, not quite a smile, something that might have been respect. "Fair enough." He gestured toward the hearth. "Warm yourself. Mira will bring food. We do not ask questions here, but we also do not tolerate trouble. If your enemies come through that door, they become my problem. Understand?" She nodded. "Good." He turned away, then paused. "What do they call you?" "Alara." "Just Alara." "Just Alara." He considered this. "I am Kieran. Welcome to the Moonlit Tavern, Just Alara. Try not to bleed on anything valuable." The woman who had answered the door appeared with blankets and tea. "This is Mira," Kieran said. "She runs everything that matters here. Cross her and you will wish you had drowned in the river." Mira snorted. "Dramatic as always. Come, girl, you need dry clothes and a bed before you collapse." Alara followed her upstairs. The corridor smelled of cedar and candle wax. Mira led her to a small room, simple but clean. A narrow bed, a basin, a window overlooking the forest. "He will protect you," Mira said while laying out fresh clothing. "But do not mistake protection for softness. Kieran is many things. Soft is not among them." "Who is he really?" Alara asked. Mira smiled without humor. "Someone who understands running from the past. Now rest. Questions can wait until you are not half dead." She left. Alara barred the door and collapsed onto the bed. Sleep took her instantly, deep and dreamless and absolute. She woke to voices, low, urgent, coming from below. Moving quietly, she crept to the corridor and down the stairs, stayed in shadows, listened. Kieran stood at a large table covered with maps, charts marked with notations in precise handwriting, troop movements, supply lines, strategic positions. The markings looked familiar. Her breath caught. A man with gray at his temples spoke. His tone carried military crispness. "Theron Vale is moving forces toward the eastern border, my lord. 3 companies, heavy cavalry. He means to test you." Kieran studied the map. His finger traced a path along the eastern road. "Here. He will attack here. The narrow pass where 1 company can hold against 3. He thinks I will meet him there." The gray-haired man frowned. "You have other plans." Kieran smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. "I have better terrain." He moved his finger south. "The ridge above Blackwater Ford. High ground, clear sight lines. Let him take the pass. He will find it empty. Then when he advances to the ford, we hit him from above." The other man leaned forward, ambitious. "If the timing is wrong, he will flank us. Then the timing must be perfect." Alara stepped from the shadows. Both men turned. Kieran's hand moved to the blade at his hip. Recognition flickered. He relaxed slightly. "Eavesdropping is dangerous," he said. "So is attacking from the ridge at Blackwater Ford," she replied. Her voice came steadier than she felt. "The ford floods this time of year. Your forces will be pinned between water and high ground if Vale brings archers. You will be exposed." Silence filled the room. The gray-haired man stared. Kieran's expression went carefully neutral. "And you know this how?" he asked. "Because my father taught me to read terrain." She moved to the table, pointed at the map. "You want Vale to commit to the pass. Make him believe it is your defensive position. Then feint retreat toward the ford. But do not stop there. Continue past it. Draw him into the lowlands beyond where the ground turns to marsh. Cavalry is useless in marsh. His advantage becomes his trap." Kieran studied her. Then the map. Then her again. "Who was your father?" "Cassius Thorne." The room went cold. The gray-haired man sucked in breath. Kieran's hands flattened against the table. "Cassius Thorne died 10 years ago," Kieran said carefully. "Executed by the old Alpha King for treason." "Executed for truth," Alara corrected. "For seeing crimes and speaking them aloud. For refusing to participate in genocide disguised as conquest." "I did not kill your father," Kieran said. "No, but your bloodline did. Your father swung the axe. You wear the crown he left behind." She gestured at the maps. "These are his strategies, his style. I would know them anywhere." Kieran straightened. "I did not know about Cassius until after. Until I found records, testimonies, evidence my father buried. When I learned what he had done, what he had become, I challenged him." "And killed him," Alara finished. "I heard that story. The son who murdered his king. The son who ended a tyrant's reign," Kieran corrected quietly. "And was cursed by the moon for spilling blood of blood. Yes, that story is true, all of it." She met his eyes, saw truth there, or what looked like truth. But trust was expensive, and she had been bankrupt for years. "Your strategy for the ford," Kieran said. "It is sound, better than mine. Will you help me refine it?" "Why would I help you?" "Because you are here. Because you are running from Demon Blackwood. Because the enemy of your enemy might not be your friend but could be useful. And because," he leaned forward, "you are Cassius Thorne's daughter. Strategy is in your blood. You cannot help yourself." She looked at the maps, at the careful notations, the troop movements, supply calculations, the chess game her father had taught her to see. Against every instinct, she nodded. They worked through the night. Kieran asked questions. She answered. He suggested modifications. She refined them. The gray-haired man, introduced as Rowan Gray, watched in silence. By dawn, they had a new plan, elegant, deadly. Cassius Thorne would have approved. When finished, Kieran rolled up the maps. "You have a gift," he said. "Your father trained you well." "He trained me to think," she replied. "Strategy is not magic. It is pattern recognition, probability calculation, understanding human nature at scale." Kieran smiled, genuinely this time. "He would have made you a general if he had lived." He tried, but the old king preferred his generals stupid and loyal. Rowan spoke for the first time in hours. "She should not be here, my lord. If Blackwood tracks her, he brings war to your door." "Then let him come," Kieran said. His tone carried finality. "She stays." Over the following weeks, Alara found rhythms, helped Mira in the kitchens, avoided attention, observed. The moonlit tavern was not what it appeared. Too many soldiers passing through, too much deference shown to Kieran. The way people bowed slightly when he entered a room, the formal address that slipped out sometimes. "My lord, your grace." Once, whispered when the speaker thought no one listened. "Your majesty." She said nothing, asked nothing, but she watched. Kieran began including her in planning sessions, at first just to review maps, then to offer opinions, then to lead the discussions while he listened. "You see what others miss," he told her after one particularly detailed analysis of supply line vulnerabilities. "Your father's gift." "Or his curse," she replied. "Seeing what is coming does not mean you can stop it." "No, but it means you can prepare. That is the difference between defeat and survival." They fell into partnership, not friendship exactly, something more pragmatic. She provided tactical analysis. He provided protection. Neither spoke of trust, but it grew anyway, silent and stubborn as weeds through stone. One evening she found him alone in the study, staring at calendar marked with moon phases. His expression carried weight she did not understand. "The full moon rises in 3 days," she said. He turned, startled, then resigned. "You notice everything." Hazard of the profession. He gestured at the calendar. 3 days, yes. "What happens in 3 days?" "You should go," he said quietly. "Leave the tavern. Travel south, far south. Do not return for a week." "Why?" "Because I do not want you here when the moon is full." She crossed her arms. "I am not a child to be sent away for my own good. If there is danger, I should know." "The danger is me," he said. The words came hard, like stones pushed uphill. "When I killed my father, the moon goddess cursed me. Every full moon I transform, not into wolf, into something worse. I become a beast without reason, without humanity. I have killed 17 people in 10 years, guards who volunteered to contain me, good men who died because I cannot control what I become." She processed this, remembered stories whispered about cursed alphas, wolves who went mad, who slaughtered without thought. "You chain yourself," she guessed, "in silver, in the deepest cell, with guards outside holding silver weapons, and still sometimes I break free. So I built this place, this tavern, here on the border where if I escape, I run into wilderness, not into populated areas. Fewer deaths that way." "3 days," she repeated. "3 days. Please, Alara, go." She met his eyes, saw fear there, not for himself, for her. "No," she said. His jaw tightened. "I am not asking, and I am not leaving. You protected me. Let me try to help you." "You cannot help with this. No one can. I have consulted seers, mages, healers. The curse is absolute. Blood for blood. I killed my father. The moon takes payment every cycle, forever." "Maybe," she said. "Or maybe no one has approached it correctly. You treat it as cursed to endure. What if it is cursed to master?" "It cannot be mastered. I have tried." "With respect," she said carefully, "you are a warrior. Warriors fight. But curses are not enemies to defeat. They are problems to solve, and I am very good at solving problems." The night of the full moon, they dragged Kieran to the cells beneath the tavern, 3 levels down where stone walls were carved from living bedrock. The deepest chamber held chains bolted into floor and ceiling. Silver, blessed by moon priestesses, enchanted to hold. Rowan oversaw preparations. His face carried the exhaustion of a man who had done this many times before. "You should not be here," he told Alara. "So everyone keeps saying, I am serious. When he changes, there is nothing human left, just hunger, just rage. If you are in that room, you will die." "Then I will die learning something useful," she replied. "Now help me carry these." She had brought supplies, parchment, charcoal, a chronometer to mark time. She intended to document everything, every stage of transformation, every behavior. Pattern recognition required data. Kieran was already chained, conscious but fading. His eyes held apology. "Last chance to leave," he managed. "Stay safe," she said. "I will see you at dawn." The moon rose. The transformation began with screams. Kieran's body convulsed, bones cracked and reformed, skin split and healed, muscle tore and rebuilt. The sound was worse than any battle wound, worse than any death cry. It was the sound of a man being unmade. Alara forced herself to watch, to document, to not look away. When it finished, what stood in the chains was not wolf, not man, something between. 9 feet tall, black fur over corded muscle, claws like knives, eyes empty of recognition, just silver hunger. The beast tested the chains, pulled, strained, metal groaned but held. Then it looked at her. Intelligence flickered behind the beast eyes. Not human intelligence, predator intelligence. It saw prey, saw weakness, saw opportunity. It lunged, the chains caught, barely. Alara did not run. Her father had taught her. Fear is information your enemy reads. So she stood, breathed, observed. The beast fought the chains for an hour, methodical, testing each link, each anchor point, looking for weakness. This was not mindless rage. This was problem-solving, brutal, simple, but calculated. That gave her an idea. She spoke, her voice calm, military cadence, the rhythm her father used when drilling soldiers. "Soldier, stand down." The beast paused. "Soldier, report status." It tilted massive head, confused. "Soldier, you are not beast, you are man, remember." It snarled, but something flickered in those eyes. She continued, kept rhythm, kept cadence, words her father had used 1,000 times. "At ease, soldier, at ease. You are in control. You are more than rage. You are discipline. You are purpose. You are soldier. Stand down." Hour after hour, she spoke the words, maintained rhythm, refused to show fear. Slowly, impossibly, the beast began to respond. It stopped fighting chains, sat, then lay down. Eyes still locked on her, but the hunger faded, replaced by something that might have been confusion or curiosity. She kept speaking until her voice went hoarse, until moonlight began to fade, until dawn painted the cell gray. The transformation reversed, slower than before, less violent. Kieran returned to human form gasping, weeping, covered in sweat and blood from where chains had cut his skin. Rowan rushed in, checked the chains, stared at Alara, then at Kieran. "What did you do?" he breathed. "Pattern recognition," she replied. Her voice was almost gone. "The beast responds to military discipline. The curse strips humanity but cannot strip training. Years of conditioning. Kieran the warrior is still in there, buried, but accessible if you know the right commands." Kieran looked at her from the floor, wonder and horror mixed in his expression. "No one has ever," he started. Could not finish. "I know," she said gently, "but now someone has. And now we know it is possible. The curse is not absolute. It can be managed, maybe not broken, but managed." Rowan helped Kieran stand, wrapped him in blankets. His voice came rough. "This changes everything, my lord." "Yes," Kieran agreed. He met Alara's eyes. "Why? Why risk yourself for me?" She considered. "Because you gave me shelter. Because you did not deserve your father's sins. Because I hate seeing problems I cannot solve. Take your pick." Kieran smiled despite exhaustion. "All three, I think." They climbed from the cells into morning light. Rowan went to dismiss the guards who had stood ready all night. Mira had breakfast waiting. Hot food, strong tea. The normalcy of it felt surreal after the horror below. Kieran ate in silence. Finally he spoke. "You should know, I am not just tavern keeper. I am Alpha King of the North. The curse drove me from my throne. I built this place to hide, to protect people from what I become. The council believes I am on extended campaign. They do not know about the beast. If they discovered it, I would be executed, or worse, locked away forever." "I suspected," Alara said. "Too much deference, too many soldiers. The way Rowan calls you Lord when he forgets himself." Kieran nodded. "So now you know. The cursed king hiding in his own kingdom. What will you do with this information?" "Nothing. Your secret is safe. You protected me when I had nothing. I do not repay debts with betrayal." He studied her. "I think your father would be proud of who you have become." She looked away, uncomfortable with praise, or maybe with kindness. Before either could speak again, the door burst open. A scout, mud splattered, breathing hard. "My lord, Demon Blackwood approaches with 50 riders. They will be here within the hour. He demands the return of his property." Kieran stood. His exhaustion vanished beneath something harder. "He becomes my problem then." "My lord," Rowan said carefully, "Blackwood is powerful, unpredictable. If you kill him, his pack will want blood payment. It could mean war." "Then it means war," Kieran replied. "But it will not come to that." He turned to Alara. "Stay inside. Do not show yourself. Let me handle this." "No," she said. "I have run enough. If he wants me, he can face me. But he does not take me. Not ever again." Kieran searched her expression, saw iron there, resolved that would not bend. "Very well," he said quietly. "We face him together." They took positions. Kieran at the tavern entrance, Alara beside him. Rowan coordinating defenders on the walls and in windows. The moonlit tavern was more fortress than inn. Now that became evident. Demon arrived in a thunder of hooves and fury. He dismounted, shifted to half form, massive, scarred, eyes burning silver with rage. "Kieran Ashford," he called. His voice carried, projected. "You harbor what belongs to me. Return the Omega and I leave peacefully. Refuse and I take her by force." "She belongs to no one," Kieran replied. His tone matched Demon's for volume but carried more control. "Alara Thorne is under my protection. That ends your claim." "Protection?" Demon laughed. It was an ugly sound. "You think pretty words change ownership. She is marked. Mine by right and law." "Your right, your law. Neither recognized here. She stays." Demon's eyes found Alara. "So the prey thinks itself free. Tell me, little Omega, did you enjoy your swim in Blackwater River? Cold, was it not? I almost admired the desperation. Almost." Alara stepped forward. Kieran tensed but did not stop her. "I am not your prey anymore," she said clearly. "I am not your property. I am not your anything. You marked my throat, but you never touched my mind. That was always mine. And it planned my escape for 5 years while you thought me broken. So who is really the fool here, Demon Blackwood?" His rage exploded. He lunged. Kieran met him mid-air. They collided in a tangle of claws and fury, shifted fully now. Two massive wolves, black against silver gray. The fight was brutal, primal. They tore at each other with teeth and claws. Blood sprayed on white snow. Both alphas were powerful, both skilled. Neither gave ground. Then Demon spoke while fighting. His words came between snarls. "Ask him, Alara. Ask your protector who trained me in strategy, who taught me everything I know." Kieran faltered, just for a moment. "Cassius Thorne was my mentor too," Demon continued. "Your father taught both of us. We studied together, planned campaigns together. Until Kieran's father murdered him for discovering the truth, for refusing to participate in the Western genocide." Alara went cold. "I tried to save Cassius," Demon snarled. "Begged the old king to show mercy. He laughed at me, said mentors are replaceable. So I watched your father die, Alara. Watched while the man I respected bled out on those throne room stones. And this king, he slammed Kieran into the ground. This cursed, pathetic king did nothing to stop it." "That is a lie," Kieran gasped. "I was not there. I was on campaign in the south. By the time I returned, Cassius was already dead." "Convenient," Demon sneered. "Always convenient. The absent prince, the ignorant heir. You inherited a blood throne and now pretend to be better than the monster who built it." They broke apart, circled, both bleeding, both exhausted. Alara's mind raced. Demon knew her father, studied under him. That explained his tactical skill, his ability to think strategically. Cassius Thorne had trained 2 students. One became a king, one became a tyrant, and her father had been murdered between them. "Demon?" she called. Both wolves turned. "If what you say is true, if you honored my father, then why? Why become this? Why brutality? Why ownership? He taught compassion, strategy tempered with mercy. You learned only the violence." Demon shifted back to human, stood naked and bloody in the snow. His expression carried something that might have been pain. "Because mercy gets you killed," he said quietly. "Compassion makes you weak. Your father proved that when he died for his principles. I learned. I survived. I became what was necessary." "No," Alara said. "You became what was easy. Violence is always easier than wisdom. Cruelty is always simpler than kindness. You did not honor my father's memory. You betrayed everything he taught." Demon's face twisted. "You know nothing. I know he would be ashamed of what you became." The words struck harder than any blow. Demon staggered. For a moment his rage cracked. Beneath it, something broken looked out. Then his forces attacked. 50 wolves poured from the tree line. Kieran's defenders met them. The battle exploded across the tavern grounds. Steel clashed, wolves howled, blood turned snow to crimson slush. Alara found herself back to back with Kieran. He had given her a blade, short sword, balanced. She knew how to use it. Her father had insisted. A tactician who cannot fight is a liability. The battle raged. Demon's forces were more numerous, but Kieran's were better trained, better positioned. The tavern's defenses funneled attackers into kill zones. Archers on the roof picked targets methodically. Then Alara saw it, the pattern, the strategy beneath the chaos. Demon was not trying to win. He was testing, probing defenses, gathering intelligence. This was reconnaissance in force. Learn the enemy's capabilities, pay the blood price for information. Classic Cassius Thorne doctrine. "Kieran!" she shouted. "He is not committing reserves. This is not his real attack." Kieran understood immediately. Called retreat. His forces pulled back to secondary positions, locked down the tavern. Demon's wolves found themselves suddenly facing sealed doors and arrow slits. Demon called his own retreat. His forces melted back into the forest. Casualties on both sides, but nothing decisive. He appeared at the tree line, shifted to half form, called across the distance. "Well played, Alara Thorne. Your father's daughter indeed. But this is not over. I will return, with more forces, better strategy, and when I do, I will take what is mine." He vanished into shadows. The defenders secured the tavern, counted casualties, treated wounded. Kieran called council in the Great Hall. Rowan spoke first. "He will return, with allies. This was just the opening move." "Then we prepare," Kieran said. "Fortify. Call in our own allies." He looked at Alara. "What would your father do?" She considered. "Demon knows your defensive capabilities now. He will bring overwhelming force or attempt something unexpected. Probably both." Kieran nodded. "So we need something he will not anticipate." "Yes." "What?" She smiled, slowly. "That depends. How much do you trust me?" Kieran met her eyes. "After tonight. After you faced the beast. After you stood with me against Blackwood." He paused. "Completely." "Then I have an idea. but you are not going to like it. Try me. We give him exactly what he wants." Silence filled the hall. Rowan looked horrified. Kieran's expression went carefully blank. "Explain," he said. She moved to the map table, pointed at strategic locations. "Demon wants me, wants validation, wants to prove his strength. So we give him a target, stage a scenario where he thinks he can win, where his pride blinds him to the trap." "You would bait the trap with yourself," Kieran said flatly. "Yes. No, absolutely not." She met his glare without flinching. "It is sound tactics. Use enemy's desire against him, make his goal his weakness. It is using you as bait. That is unacceptable." "Why? Because I am Omega? Because I am woman? Because you think me fragile?" "Because I will not risk you," he said. The words came rough, almost angry. Not for strategy, not for victory, not for anything. Their eyes locked. Something passed between them. Understanding, or recognition. Or maybe just the acknowledgement that this partnership had become something more complicated than either intended. Rowan cleared his throat. "My lord, she is right tactically. If we can draw Blackwood into prepared ground using her as bait, we gain advantage." "You too," Kieran said, but his protest had weakened. "Think about it," Alara said. "Sleep on it. Discuss it tomorrow." "But Damon is planning. We must plan faster, plan better." Kieran nodded slowly. "Tomorrow, then." He looked at her. "And Alara, thank you. For tonight. For the beast. For everything." She smiled. "You are welcome, Your Majesty." He winced. "So you know." "Everyone knows. They just pretend not to. It is very obvious." "Wonderful," he muttered. "I am an obvious fugitive king. My father would be appalled." "Good," she said. "Let him be appalled in whatever hell holds tyrants." Despite everything, Kieran laughed. That night, Alara stood at her window watching the moon. Still bright, still full, still cursed. She touched her throat where Demon's mark had faded. Nearly gone now, as though proximity to Kieran was breaking the bond. Her door opened quietly. Kieran. He should have knocked, but somehow she had expected him. "Could not sleep," he said. "Neither could I." He joined her at the window. They stood in comfortable silence. "I meant what I said," he told her. "I will not risk you, even for tactical advantage. I know. But sometimes risks are necessary. My father taught me that too. He was a wise man." "He was." She paused. "Demon was right about one thing. My father did train him. I remember now. A younger man, serious, dedicated, before whatever darkness changed him." "People break," Kieran said quietly, "especially when they lose what they love. Demon lost your father's guidance. Then he lost his own Luna in the Western campaigns. Your father's death and his mate's death happened within months. That kind of pain can twist anyone." "You sound like you understand." "I do. I killed my father and lost my humanity in the same night. If not for people like Rowan and Mira, I might have become like Demon. A monster pretending to be a man." "But you did not," she said. "Not yet." He met her eyes. "But every full moon I wonder if this time will be the time I do not come back." "You will," she said with certainty she did not entirely feel. "Because now you have me to call you home." He smiled. "Yes, I suppose I do." He touched her cheek, gentle, questioning. She leaned into the touch, let herself have this moment, this connection. Tomorrow they would plan war. Tonight they could pretend peace. He kissed her. Soft, tentative. Nothing like the brutal claiming of Damon's mark. This was question, request, offering. She answered by pulling him closer. They made love slowly, discovered each other, learned new languages of touch and breath. Afterward they lay tangled in moonlight streaming through windows. "This complicates things," she murmured against his chest. "Yes," he agreed. His fingers traced patterns on her shoulder. His heart beat steady beneath her ear. "We are in the middle of a war, about to risk everything on a desperate plan. Our enemies are circling, and we just made ourselves vulnerable to each other. True on all counts. So what do we do?" He kissed her forehead. "We fight anyway. We plan anyway. We survive anyway. Together." "Together," she echoed. Outside, clouds covered the moon. Tomorrow would bring new threats, new battles, new risks. But tonight, in the darkness, two damaged souls found something that felt remarkably like hope. And in the forest, Demon Blackwood stared at the tavern from shadow, watched the light in the upper window, saw silhouettes moving together. His expression carried something beyond rage now, something colder, more determined. He turned to Corvus, his necromancer lieutenant. "Prepare the ritual," he said. "If I cannot have Cassius's daughter, I will have her power, one way or another." Corvus smiled, a death's head grin. "As you command, my lord, as you command." The pieces were moving, the board was set, and the game that would determine the fate of the North had truly begun. Dawn came cold and unforgiving. Alara woke in Kieran's arms with the weight of war pressing against her chest. Outside, wolves moved through morning mist preparing defenses. Inside, the warmth of their shared bed felt like borrowed time. Kieran stirred, his hand tightened on her waist. "Regrets," he murmured against her hair. "Only that we have no time for more of this," she replied. He smiled, kissed her shoulder. Then reality reclaimed them both. They dressed in silence, armor of a different kind, clothes that announced purpose over pleasure. The War Council gathered before breakfast. Maps covered every surface. Scouts reported throughout the night. Demon's forces had withdrawn to Blackwood Hold. But intelligence suggested he was calling in debts, rallying allies, building an army that could crush the moonlit tavern through sheer numbers. Rowan presented the numbers. They were not encouraging. "Blackwood can field 3,000 fighters if he commits everything," Rowan said. "We have perhaps 800. Even with superior position and tactics, those odds will kill us." "Then we do not fight his army," Alara said. "We fight his strategy, make the numbers irrelevant." Kieran looked at her. "Explain." She moved to the largest map, pointed at key terrain features. Demon thinks in terms of conventional warfare. Mass, momentum, overwhelming force. But my father taught me something else. The smaller force dictates when and where battle occurs. We choose ground that negates his advantage. Rowan frowned. "There is no ground that negates 3-to-1 odds. There is if we fragment his forces, make him divide to pursue multiple objectives, then defeat him piecemeal. That requires bait he cannot resist," Kieran said slowly. "Multiple targets he must address simultaneously." "Yes," she met his eyes. "It requires me." "No. Listen first. Judge after." She traced routes on the map. "I travel east with small escort. Make it obvious. Demon commits forces to capture me. Meanwhile, you strike his supply lines from the north. He divides again to protect logistics. His 3,000 becomes 3 forces of 1,000, each vulnerable." "And when he catches you," Rowan asked quietly. "He will not, because I will not be where he thinks I am." "Smoke and mirrors," Kieran said. Deception layered on deception. "Exactly my father's specialty." The room fell silent. Men considered, calculated, weighed risk against reward. Finally, Kieran spoke. "I do not like it, but I cannot argue with the logic." He looked at Rowan. "Thoughts." Rowan's jaw worked. "It is sound tactically, but if any element fails, she dies. Or worse, Blackwood takes her alive." "Then no element fails," Alara said simply. "We plan for every contingency, every variable. We make luck irrelevant through preparation." Kieran studied her. She saw pride there, and fear, and something deeper he would not name. "We do this," he said, "but not alone. I send my best fighters with you, people I trust absolutely." "Agreed, but keep the force small, speed and stealth over strength." They spent the morning refining details, escape routes, rally points, signal codes, communication protocols. The plan grew more complex, more elegant, more dangerous. By noon, 3 women arrived who changed everything. They came without announcement, simply appeared in the tavern courtyard as though materializing from mist. 3 figures wrapped in silver cloaks, faces hidden by deep hoods. The air around them hummed with something old, something that made wolf instincts whisper warnings. Kieran met them at the door. His hand rested on his blade. "State your business," he said. The center figure lowered her hood. Ancient features, eyes like starlight, hair white as winter. "We are the seers of the moon," she said. Her voice carried harmonics that human vocal cords should not produce. "I am Moira. My sisters are Celine and Astrid. We come because the moon herself has sent us." The other 2 revealed their faces. One middle-aged with silver shot through black hair, one young with eyes too old for her face. All 3 radiated power that made the air thick. "Why?" Kieran asked flatly. He did not bow, did not show deference. Alpha Kings did not kneel to anyone. Moira smiled. It was not comforting. "Because you shelter something precious, something lost, something that should not exist but does." She turned her starlight eyes to Alara, the last daughter of the Moonborn line. Alara went cold. Moonborn. The word resonated, familiar somehow, like a name half remembered from childhood. "I am no one," she said, "just a tactician's daughter." "You are Cassius Thorne's daughter," Astrid said. "The youngest seer." Her voice was spring water over stones. But Cassius was not just master tactician. He carried blood from the ancient line. Priestesses who served the moon before pacts formed, before territories divided, before wolves forgot their origins. Celine continued the explanation. The Moonborn were the moon's generals, strategic minds blessed with precognitive sight. They saw battles before they occurred, guided Alpha Kings through impossible wars. Their power was absolute and dangerous, so dangerous the other packs hunted them to extinction. Or thought they did, Moira finished, but traces remained, hidden in bloodlines, dormant, waiting. Your father knew, kept his heritage secret, kept you safe, until the old Alpha King discovered the truth and executed him for it. The room spun. Alara gripped the table. Kieran moved to her side. His presence steadied her. "This is truth," Moira said gently. "You have felt it. When you look at maps, you see more than terrain. You see possibilities, probabilities, the future unfolding in branching paths. That is Moonborn sight, your inheritance." "I thought," Alara whispered, "I thought it was just pattern recognition, training." "Training awakened what was already there," Astrid said. "But the power is real and growing. We felt it. The moon herself felt it. When you guided the cursed king through his transformation, you used Moonborn power without knowing, created a bond, a tether between tactical mind and warrior's body." Kieran's hand found hers. "Is this why she could control the beast?" "Yes," Moira confirmed. "Moonborn were designed to partner with Alpha Kings, balance power with wisdom, strength with strategy. You two are what our ancestors intended, before fear and jealousy destroyed the partnership." "If this is true," Rowan said carefully, "then what does it mean for the current situation?" "It means," Celine said, "that if Demon Blackwood discovers what she is, he will kill everyone she loves to force her cooperation. Moonborn power in the wrong hands could conquer continents, could make armies invincible, could reshape the world." "Then we keep it secret," Kieran said. "Too late," Astrid murmured. She moved to the window, stared at the forest. "He already suspects. That is why he wants her so desperately. He studied under Cassius, learned fragments of the old knowledge. He knows what Moonborn blood can do." The seers spent the afternoon examining Alara, testing her. They had her study battle scenarios, watch her track probabilities. Her mind processed tactical data faster than conscious thought. She saw not just current positions but future positions, not just actions but reactions 3 moves deep. "This is advanced," Moira said with something like awe. "Untrained and already operating at master level. If we teach you control, you could see 10 moves ahead." 20. Your father's gift multiplied. "What is the cost?" Alara asked. "Power always has cost." The seers exchanged glances. Celine answered. "Moonborn sight consumes life force. Every vision, every probability you calculate beyond natural ability. It burns years from your span. The more you see, the faster you age. The greatest Moonborn generals died young, used themselves up in service to their kings." "How young?" Alara pressed. 30. 40 if careful. 50 was considered ancient. She absorbed this. "So I have perhaps 10 years, maybe 15 if I use the power sparingly." Kieran made a sound, low, wounded. "No, there must be another way." "There is not," Moira said softly. "This is the price. This has always been the price. Moonborn choose service knowing the cost. Your father knew. He chose anyway." "Because he believed in something worth dying for," Alara said quietly. "Yes." She looked at Kieran, saw anguish in his face, saw him calculating, trying to find loopholes in fate. "Do not," she told him. "Do not try to save me from my own choice. This is mine to make." His jaw clenched. "I just found you. I will not lose you in 10 years. "Then we make those 10 years count," she said. "We do what my father could not. We change the system, reform the pack structure, make his sacrifice mean something." "Pretty words," Rowan said, "but they do not change reality. You will die young serving a cursed king in a war we cannot win." "Then I die well," Alara replied. Her voice carried steel. "Better than dying old and broken under demons' ownership. Better than living long without purpose. My father taught me that a short life of meaning beats a long life of emptiness. I choose meaning." The seers nodded approval. "This one understands," Astrid said. "She is ready." Over the following days, they trained her, taught her to control the sight, to reach for it deliberately rather than stumbling into visions. The process was exhausting. Each session left her drained, But the power grew. She learned to see probability clouds, branching futures spreading from each decision point. Most branches faded quickly. Low probability. Unlikely. But some glowed bright. High probability. Dangerous. Those were the ones to watch. During one session, she saw Damon's attack plan, his forces moving in coordinated strikes, the timing, the targets, everything. 3 weeks, she gasped when the vision released her. He attacks in 3 weeks, 3-pronged assault, from the east, north, and south simultaneously. Kieran studied the map where she had marked positions. This is detailed, precise. It may not happen exactly this way, Moira warned. Probability is not certainty. Choices change outcomes. But the broad strokes should hold. It is more intelligence than we had yesterday, Rowan admitted grudgingly. They adjusted plans, prepared for the assault she had seen, fortified weak points, positioned forces, called in favors from allied packs. But tensions grew, not from external threats, from internal fractures. Rowan's opposition became more vocal. He argued against Kieran in council meetings, questioned decisions, challenged authority in ways he never had before. One night, Kieran confronted him privately. Elara listened from the shadows, not proud of the eavesdropping, but war made spies of them all. "What is wrong with you?" Kieran demanded. "We have fought together for 20 years. You were my first beta, my most trusted advisor. Now you question everything, undermine my authority. Why?" "Because you have changed," Rowan said. His voice carried pain. "You are not the king I served. That king was hard, uncompromising, strong. This version of you is weak, soft, led by an Omega who will burn herself out in a decade. She is not leading me. We are partners." "Exactly," Rowan spat. "Partners. An Alpha King does not have partners. He has subordinates, servants, tools. You have forgotten what it means to rule." "I have remembered what it means to be human," Kieran corrected. "There is a difference." "Yes, and that difference will destroy you, destroy us all. The old ways kept us strong, kept us alive. You think compassion and partnership and reform will save the packs. It will not. It will make us weak, vulnerable, dead." Kieran's voice went dangerously quiet. "Is that your position as Beta, or your resignation?" Rowan looked stricken. "You would dismiss me, after everything. I would know where you stand, with me or against me. Choose, Rowan, now." Silence stretched. Finally Rowan bowed, stiff, formal. "With you, my lord, as always, with you." But the words rang hollow, and Elara, watching from shadows, knew they had just witnessed a lie. She followed Rowan later that night, saw him meet with others, wolves from the old guard, traditionalists who believed in alpha supremacy, beta dominance, omega submission, the rigid hierarchy that had ruled for generations. Rowan spoke to them in low, urgent tones. "The king has lost his way. He elevates an omega to general, partners with her like she is his equal. This violates natural order. If we do not act, he will destroy everything we have built." "What do you propose?" one asked. "We save him from himself, remove the Omega, send her away, force Kieran to remember his strength, his purpose, his throne. And if he refuses, then we remind him that kings serve at the pleasure of their packs. Council can unmake what council made." "That is treason," someone whispered. "No," Rowan replied, "that is loyalty, to the pack, to tradition, to the strength that has kept us alive. The king will understand, eventually." Elara reported the conversation to Kieran, watched his face harden, crack, reform into something colder. "Rowan plans to betray you," she said simply. "Not from malice, from misguided loyalty. He thinks he is saving you." "He is damning himself," Kieran replied, "and everyone who follows him." "What will you do?" "Nothing. Yet. Let him gather his conspirators. Let them show themselves. Then we cut out the rot all at once. That is dangerous if they move first. They will not. Rowan's weakness is his honor, twisted, corrupted, but still honor. He will give me chance to comply before he acts. That gives us time. Time we may not have. Demon attacks in less than 3 weeks. Then we accelerate our plans." He looked at her. "Are you ready?" "For the mission?" "Yes. For betrayal from within." She shook her head. "I do not know if anyone is ready for that." The seers offered one more revelation before they left. They took Elara to the highest room in the tavern, showed her a ritual circle carved into ancient floorboards. "The twin flame ceremony," Moira explained, "designed for Moonborn and their chosen alpha. It fully bonds tactical mind to warrior body, creates perfect synchronization. With this, your sight guides his strength. His power amplifies your vision. You become one weapon in two bodies. What is the catch? Alara asked. There was always a catch. The bond is permanent and absolute. If he dies, you die. If you burn out your life force, he loses the tactical edge that keeps him alive. You succeed together or fall together. No middle ground. Poetic, Alara said dryly. Terrifying, but poetic. Will you attempt it? Astrid asked. Kieran needs every advantage, Alara replied. If this helps him survive, yes. Even knowing you chain your life to his, especially knowing that. Better to burn fast and bright together than flicker alone. The seers smiled, all three, as though she had passed some test. You are worthy, Celine said. Your father would weep with pride. Or horror, Alara muttered, depending on the day. They prepared the ritual for the following night. Gathered components. Blessed silver. Moon water. Blood from both participants. Ancient words written in languages that predated modern speech. But before the ceremony could begin, everything went wrong. Demon attacked early. The assault came at midnight, not in 3 weeks. Now, a full-scale invasion that shattered the peaceful darkness. Fire arrows arced through sky. Siege engines hurled burning pitch. Wolves poured from the forest in waves. Hundreds, thousands, more than scouts had reported possible. Kieran's forces scrambled to positions. Alara ran to the command post. Rowan was already there directing defenses. His face showed shock. This is not the attack you predicted, he said to Alara, almost accusatory. No. She studied the enemy movements, saw the pattern, understood. He changed plans. Someone told him we knew. Someone betrayed us. Rowan went pale. That is impossible. Is it? She asked. Looked directly at him. Before he could respond, the gates exploded inward. Battering rams, shaped charges. Demon's forces had brought siege equipment. This was not raid or recon. This was conquest. Kieran fought on the front lines, partially shifted. Claws and fangs, but still bipedal, still able to issue commands. His voice cut through chaos. Hold the courtyard. Fall back to secondary positions. Archers focus fire on their sappers. Alara activated her Moonborn sight. The world exploded into probability. She saw enemy movements 3 steps ahead, saw where breaches would occur, where defenses would fail. Kieran, she called. He turned. She pointed. East wall, 30 seconds. They will break through. He diverted forces. The breach came exactly when she predicted, but his wolves were ready. Cut down the attackers as they poured through. Again and again she guided him, saw futures, called corrections. Kieran executed without question. Their partnership flowed like water, like dance, like the bond the ritual would have created if they had time. But they were losing. Too many enemies, too few defenders, slowly, inevitably. Demon's numbers prevailed. Then Rowan made his choice. He appeared beside Alara during the fighting. His face carried resignation and determination, and something that might have been regret. I am sorry, he said. You do not deserve this, but it is necessary. He grabbed her. Silver collar snapped around her neck, paralyzed her Moonborn powers, nullified her ability to see futures. The world crashed back to single timeline, blind, helpless. Rowan, she gasped, what have you done? What I must, he replied, saved my king from himself. He dragged her toward the gates, toward Demon's forces, held her as offering, as price, as treaty. Demon Blackwood, he called, I have what you want. Call off the attack, take the Omega, leave the king unharmed. Demon emerged from the battle, covered in blood, eyes burning. He looked at Alara, at Rowan. Understanding dawned. You betray your king for me, he asked, curious. I betray no one, Rowan replied. I save him. The Omega has poisoned his mind, made him weak. Remove her, and he returns to strength. So take her. End this war. Let us return to the old ways. Demon laughed. It was a terrible sound. You think I want the old ways, fool. I want to burn the old ways to ash. I want revolution, reformation, everything your precious traditions denied me. He moved faster than thought. Blade flashed. Rowan gasped, looked down at steel protruding from his chest. You served your purpose, Demon said. Opened the gates, delivered the prize. Now die knowing you betrayed better men than me. He twisted the blade. Rowan crumpled. Kieran's roar shook the battlefield. He saw Rowan fall, saw Damon holding Alara. Something inside him broke. The beast surged. Not controlled transformation, not managed shift. pure rage made flesh. He became the monster, the creature from the full moon. 9 feet of muscle and fury and absolute destruction. The cursed beast tore through Damon's forces like they were paper, ripped, shredded, killed. Nothing could stop it. Nothing could slow it. It was death incarnate, and it wanted only one thing. Damon recognized the danger, grabbed Alara, used her as shield. "Control your pet," he called to Alara, "or I snap your neck." But Alara could not. The silver collar blocked her power, blocked her connection. She could not reach Kieran's mind, could not guide him home. The beast charged anyway, would kill Demon even if it meant killing her too. No thought, no restraint, just rage. Then Rowan moved. He should have been dead. The wound through his chest was mortal, but beta blood ran thick, and guilt ran deeper. He lunged, not at Demon, at Alara, tore the silver collar from her throat. Now he gasped, "Save him! I was wrong. Forgive me. Save him!" The collar broke. Power flooded back. Alara reached out with her mind, found the beast, found the man buried inside. She spoke, not words, something deeper. The bond they had built through training, through partnership, through trust. "Kieran, come back to me. I am here. I am safe. Come home." The beast hesitated, confused. The rage wavered. She kept calling, kept reaching, poured every ounce of will into pulling him back from the edge. Slowly, impossibly. The transformation reversed. The beast receded. Kieran returned to human form, naked, bleeding, exhausted, but human. He looked at her, recognition in his eyes, relief, then horror as he saw Rowan. "Brother?" Kieran whispered, dropped beside him. "What have you done?" Rowan smiled, blood on his teeth. "Saved you. Finally, my king. Forgive me." "Always," Kieran said, tears on his face. "Always, brother." Rowan's eyes found Alara. "You are good for him. Better than I was. Make him great. Not just strong. Great." "I will try," she promised. "Good," Rowan breathed. His eyes closed, did not open again. Kieran held his body, rocked him, made sounds that were not quite words. Grief incarnate. Demon watched. Something passed across his face, not quite sympathy, but recognition, shared understanding of loss. He released Alara, stepped back. "We will meet again," he said. "Under different circumstances. Better ones, perhaps. Your father taught me many things. One was when to retreat. Today I retreat, but only today." His forces withdrew, melted into forest, gone as quickly as they came. The battle ended. Casualties were counted. Too many dead, too many wounded. The moonlit tavern stood but barely. Walls breached, gates destroyed. The sanctuary had become a tomb. They buried Rowan at sunrise, full honors. Kieran spoke words. Alara did not hear them, could not hear through the numbness. Afterward, Kieran found her on the battlements. They stood in silence, watching dawn paint ruins gold. "He died for a lie," Kieran said finally. "Died believing tradition mattered more than truth." "No," Alara corrected gently. "He died realizing truth mattered more than tradition. That is why he saved me, why he broke the collar. In the end, he chose correctly. Small comfort when he is dead." "Yes, but comfort nonetheless." Kieran pulled her close. She fit against him perfectly, 2 broken pieces that somehow made whole. "The seer said we need the twin flames ritual," he murmured, "to bond fully, to survive what comes next." "Yes, I almost lost you tonight, almost lost myself. If we do the ritual, we can never be separated. My life becomes your life. Your death becomes my death. Are you certain this is what you want?" She turned in his arms, met his eyes. "I am certain of nothing except this. I would rather burn fast with you than live long without you. So yes, I am certain." They performed the ritual that night, in the highest room, under the full moon. The seers guided them through ancient words, ancient gestures, blood mixed with blood. Power flowed between them. The bond formed. Not metaphor, literal connection. 2 souls woven into single purpose. When it finished, Alara could feel Kieran in her mind, his strength, his determination, his love fierce and protective. And he felt her tactical brilliance, her stubborn courage, her willingness to sacrifice everything for what mattered. They collapsed together, exhausted, complete. Outside, the world turned. Demon Blackwood reached his hold, called his advisors, told them of the Moonborn tactician, the cursed king, the bond that made them dangerous. "We need different approach," he said. "Cannot win through force. She sees that coming, needs something unexpected. Corvus the necromancer leaned forward. His smile was graveyard cold. I have an idea, my lord. Terrible, brilliant, unforgivable. But it will work. Tell me, Demon commanded. What if you died? Demon blinked. Explain. Death is just transition, Corvus said. With the right rituals, the right sacrifices, you could walk between worlds, neither alive nor dead, immune to conventional attack, and with Moonborn blood, you could be reborn, stronger, immortal, unstoppable. That is necromancy, dark magic, forbidden. Yes, Corvus agreed, but so is everything worth doing. Demon considered. Thought of Cassius Thorn, his mentor, his friend, the man who died believing in principle over power, then thought of his Luna, his mate, murdered in the Western campaigns, dead because the system protected predators and punished the weak. If I do this, he said slowly, if I become monster, it must be for reason, for purpose, to destroy the system that killed everyone I loved. Of course, my lord. Corvus' eyes gleamed. Of course. They began preparations, gathered components, prepared the ritual. In 3 days, Demon Blackwood would die, and what rose from his corpse would be something the world had never seen. At the moonlit tavern, Alara woke from nightmare, gasped, reached for Kieran. He was already awake, holding her. Bad dream, he murmured. Worse, she whispered. Vision. Demon is planning something. Something terrible. I cannot see clearly. Too many variables. But darkness is coming. Death and darkness and choices that cannot be unmade. Then we prepare, Kieran said. Face it together. Together, she agreed. But in her heart, she knew. The worst battles were still ahead, and the cost of victory would be measured in more than blood. It would be measured in souls. 3 days after Rowan's burial, the world changed. Alara woke at dawn with ice in her veins. The twin flames' bond screamed warning through every nerve. Kieran jerked awake beside her, felt it too. Something fundamental had shifted in the balance of power. She reached for her Moonborn sight, pushed past the morning fog, searched probability streams for the source of wrongness. What she found made her blood freeze. Damon was dead. Not metaphorically. Actually dead. She saw it in branching futures, his body cooling in ritual circle. Heart stopped. Breath ceased. Life extinguished. But he was also alive, standing, walking, fighting, leading armies, impossibly vital despite being corpse. The timelines contradicted themselves, created paradox that should not exist. "Kieran?" she whispered. Her voice shook. "Demon Blackwood has performed necromancy. He killed himself and was resurrected as something between life and death. He comes for us with power we cannot fight through conventional means. When, days, perhaps hours, the timelines blur around death magic. They called emergency council. What remained of leadership gathered. Mira, the 3 seers, Theron Vale with his reinforcements, others, not enough, never enough." Alara explained what she had seen, watched faces pale. "If he cannot be killed," Theron said carefully, "then how do we fight him?" "We destroy his anchor," Moira said. The eldest seer stepped forward. "Necromancy sustains the body through tethered soul. Something ties Demon's spirit to his corpse. Find the anchor. Destroy it. He falls." "What kind of anchor?" Kieran asked. "Object of greatest significance. For Damon, probably something connected to his Luna. The love he could not release even in death. Then we find it during battle," Alara said, "and I know exactly how." She spent the morning planning. Not conventional battle. Surgical strike against impossible odds. She used Moonborn sight until exhaustion claimed her, burned years searching timelines for the path to victory. One thread glowed faintly, one possibility where they survived. It required sacrifice, required impossible timing, required trust and probability over certainty. When she presented the plan to Kieran privately, he listened without interruption. His face hardened as she explained the final stage. "You walk directly to him," he said when she finished, "through thousands of enemies, using only Moonborn sight to dodge attacks. One mistake and you die." "Yes. No, there must be another way." "There is not. I have looked. This is it." He pulled her close, held her like she might disappear. "I cannot lose you." "Then trust my strategy," she said against his chest. "Trust that I see what you cannot. Trust 10 moves ahead." He kissed her forehead, always, even when it terrifies me. Damon's army arrived at dusk. 7,000 wolves, 5,000 living, 2,000 dead. The reanimated corpses shuffled among the living, empty eyes, mouths slack, hunger never ceasing. The moonlit tavern stood ready. 300 defenders, all that remained after the previous battles. They looked at the approaching horde with grim acceptance. Alara addressed them simply. "We are outnumbered 20 to 1. We cannot win through strength, so we fight through intelligence. We fragment their forces, strike from shadow, make them chase ghosts while we kill their king. You are not cannon fodder. You are precision instruments. And tonight we prove that 300 wolves with purpose beat 7,000 without it." The defenders howled, not in false courage, in readiness. The battle plan unfolded in 3 stages. Stage 1. Deception. Alara had positioned forces where logic said they should not be, created gaps where Demon would expect strength, created strength where he would expect gaps. His tactical mind would see patterns, but the patterns were lies. Stage 2. Fragmentation. As Demon's army poured through perceived weak points, they found killing grounds, crossfire positions, ambush sites. His 7,000 became 700 groups of 10, each isolated, each vulnerable. Stage 3. The hunt. While chaos raged, Alara led her strike team through the battle. Kieran, Theron Vale, 8 others, moving toward Demon himself with surgical precision. Demon noticed too late that his advantage was collapsing. His forces fragmented, his coordination shattered. The undead remained together, but they were predictable, easily avoided by those who knew their patterns. Alara moved through battle like water through stone. Her Moonborn sight showed her attacks 3 seconds before they came. Left, duck, right, roll, forward. She navigated violence without being touched. Kieran stayed close, killed anything that got through her perception. They moved as one weapon. Her mind, his strength, the bond made manifest. They found Damon in what had been the Great Hall. He stood among his undead guards. His flesh was pale, bloodless. Eyes carried light that was not alive. When he saw them, he smiled. "Alara Thorn," he said. His voice echoed strangely. "You bring yourself to me. I am almost grateful." "I bring you nothing," she replied. "I offer you release from the prison you have built." He laughed. "Dead men need no release. We have transcended suffering. You have transcended nothing." She moved closer, saw the pendant around his neck. Small, silver, crescent moon. The anchor she sought. You wear your Luna's gift like chain and call it strength, but it is torture, and I am here to free you from it. His expression shifted. Rage flickered across dead features. "You know nothing of my pain." "I know everything, because my father knew you, trained you, loved you like son, and he would weep to see what you have become. Not because you are a monster, but because you chose to be one when you could have chosen healing." "Do not speak of Cassius." "Why not?" "Because it hurts. Because even death cannot silence the voice that taught you mercy. That showed you better path. You dishonor his memory every moment you remain in this state. My father believed in redemption, in second chances, in the possibility that even broken wolves could choose to be whole again. Prove him right, Demon, or prove that he wasted his faith on you." Silence fell. Even the undead seemed to pause. Demon stared at her. Something moved behind his dead eyes, not quite emotion, but echo of what emotion had been. Then Corvus appeared from shadows, the necromancer who had performed the ritual. His smile was grave dirt and malice. "Enough," he said. "Kill them. Take the Moonborn. We waste time on philosophy." The undead attacked. Kieran met them in full wolf form, massive, black, deadly. Theron Vale fought beside him. The others formed defensive circle. Alara stood center, eyes closed, reaching with Moonborn sight. She saw the pendant clearly now, saw the magic binding it, saw the love crystallized within silver, the Luna's final gift to Demon on their bonding day, the hope that he would live well without her, that grief would not destroy him. But grief had destroyed him, had turned gift into anchor, blessing into curse. "That is the key," she called to Kieran. "The pendant holds not just his tie to death, it holds his betrayal of her final wish. She wanted him to heal. He chose vengeance instead. The pendant remembers. It knows the broken promise." Kieran fought toward Demon, each step bought with blood, but thousands remained between them, impossible to reach in time. Then Alara made her choice. She walked forward, out of protection, directly toward Demon through the chaos, used Moonborn's sight to navigate, saw each attack before it came, moved like ghosts through solid violence. Kieran roared behind her, tried to follow, could not match her precognition, watched helpless as she approached the undead king. Demon watched her come, fascinated. His guards did not attack, unsure whether to defend against threat that seemed no threat. She stopped before him, reached out, touched the pendant. "Your Luna loved you," she said softly. "She gave you this so you would remember joy, remember partnership, remember that love does not end with death. It transforms, becomes memory, becomes legacy, becomes reason to build rather than destroy. But you have made her gift into prison, made her love into excuse for hatred. She would not want this, Demon. She would want you free." The pendant flared. Silver light erupted from it. Not attack. Recognition. The Luna's blessing activated. Ancient magic woven into metal remembered its purpose, remembered the vow Demon had broken. The light wrapped around Damon's form, burned away necromancy, stripped death magic like rot from healthy wood, revealed what lay beneath. Demon screamed, not in pain, in release. The undead collapsed, their tether severed. 2,000 corpses became corpses again, true and final. And Demon became mortal. He fell to his knees, gasping, weeping. The pendant shattered, silver dust on cold stone, the anchor destroyed, the curse broken by its own foundation, by love that refused to enable darkness. Corvus howled rage, tried to intervene. Kieran was there, claws through the necromancer's throat. Quick, final. The dark magic died with its caster. The battle ended. Demon's living forces saw their leader mortal and broken, saw the undead fallen, saw impossibility made real. They surrendered. Some fled into forest, most simply stopped fighting, too exhausted to continue war that had lost its purpose. Kieran reached Alara. She swayed, used too much power, burned too many years in that final approach. He caught her before she fell. She smiled at him. "We won." "You nearly died." "Nearly, but did not." She looked at Damon, kneeling, human, broken. Neither did he. Demon lifted his head, tears tracked through blood and dirt on his face. "Why? Why offer mercy? I have done terrible things." "Because my father believed in you once," Alara said. Her voice was tired, so tired. "And I trust my father's judgment, even from the grave, especially from the grave. You have choice now, Demon Blackwood. Die here, or live and help build what he believed possible." He bowed his head, sobbed, years of pain flowing out. When he spoke, his voice was raw but sane. "I will serve, however you need. For as long as I breathe, I will help build the world Cassius deserved. I swear it on his memory." Kieran extended his hand. Demon took it. The treaty formed, not through conquest, through choice. The weeks that followed were rebuilding. Demon's territory was reformed. Old hierarchies dissolved. New system emerged based on merit, on choice, on partnership. Then the council arrived. Aldrich Stone and representatives from every major pack came to pass judgment. They gathered in the great hall. Kieran stood before them, Alpha King in full regalia, Alara beside him, equal, partner. Aldrich spoke with centuries of tradition behind his voice. "You have violated pack law, elevated Omega, bonded with Moonborn, partnered with traitor. For these crimes, the council demands you step down." Kieran smiled. It was not pleasant, no. Shock rippled through the assembly. Alphas did not refuse council judgment. "I will not abdicate," Kieran continued. His voice carried absolute authority. "I will not step down, but I will reform. I will transform this kingdom into something better. Partnership instead of hierarchy. Merit instead of birthright. Service instead of dominance. This is not request. This is reality you must accept or oppose." "The council will remove you by force," Aldrich said. "Try," Kieran replied. His power flared. "Not threat. Statement. I am Alpha King. I have walked through death, partnered with Moonborn, shown mercy where others show only strength. You can accept reformation, or you can leave, but you will not stop what we build here." Theron Vale stepped forward. "I support the king. Reform is overdue. I will stand with it." Others joined, slowly, not all, but enough. Aldrich watched momentum shift. Finally he nodded. "Very well. We will try your reformation. But if you fail, the council will act, and next time, mercy will not save you." Agreed, Kieran said. If I fail, I do not deserve saving. The council departed, some bitter, some hopeful, all uncertain. That night, Alara collapsed. She had been standing at the window watching moonrise, simply fell. No warning. Kieran caught her, carried her to their bed, called the seers. Moira examined her with grave expression. The life force is depleted. She has burned through years and days. There is nothing we can do. Weeks, perhaps. Maybe days. No, Kieran said. There must be something. There is not, Moira replied gently. This is the price of Moonborn power. This has always been the price. Alara woke hours later, saw Kieran's face, understood immediately. How long, she asked. Not long enough, he said, voice breaking. Never is, she replied, but we knew this was coming. We prepared. I am not prepared for this. You are, she said. Took his hand. You are stronger than you believe, wiser than you know. You do not need me to be great, King. You are already great. I need you to be alive. I know, but need and reality are different things. She smiled. No regrets, my love. I chose this. Would choose again. 10 years of meaning beat 50 years of emptiness. My father taught me that. I taught you. Now you teach our daughter. Cassia, he said. She is only 7, too young to lose her mother. She is exactly old enough, Alara said. Old enough to remember. Old enough to learn. Old enough to carry forward what we built. You will raise her well. Will teach her strategy and mercy. Will show her how power serves rather than rules. Promise me, she said, when her voice failed. Promise you what? That you will live, not just survive. Live, fully, completely, for both of us. Make these years count. I promise, he whispered. She called Demon, made him swear to protect Kieran and Cassia, to continue the Reformation, to remember why mercy mattered. I will, he vowed, tears on his face. Your father would be proud. Thank you for giving me chance to prove him right. She called Theron, asked him to stabilize alliances, to maintain what they built. It will be done, he promised. Your legacy is secure. She called Cassia, her daughter, 7 years old, dark hair, eyes that saw too much. You have your father's courage and my sight, Alara said, held her close. You have grandfather's blood and the moon's blessing. But more than that, you have choice. Power is nothing without purpose. Strength means nothing without compassion. Remember that, always. Cassia cried, did not understand, but remembered every word. Finally, alone with Kieran, she spoke her last. I love you, she said, from the moment you offered shelter without questions. Loved you. Loved you too, he replied, in this life and whatever comes after. Then tell me, what do you see when you look forward? What does the Reformation become? He held her hand, felt her pulse weakening. I see kingdom where wolves choose leaders based on wisdom, where power serves instead of dominates, where our daughter grows to lead not because of bloodline, but because of merit, where the system we built outlasts us by generations. I see your father's dream made real. She smiled. Good, that is good. Her eyes closed, her breathing slowed. Kieran felt it through the bond, the connection straining, thinning, about to break. He held her, whispered things meant only for her, promises, memories, love condensed into final moments. Her heart stopped. The bond shattered, pain like lightning through his soul. He gasped, would have followed her into darkness except for promise, except for duty, except for daughter who needed father. He stood, eventually, broken but functional. They held the funeral 3 days later. Wolves came from every territory, thousands mourning the tactician Luna, the Moonborn general, the woman who changed everything through strategy and sacrifice. Demon spoke eulogy, his voice carried across assembled multitudes. Alara Thorne taught me that mercy is not weakness, he said, that grief can become grace, that the best way to honor the dead is to build the world they believed possible. She forgave me when I deserved death, showed me path when I saw only darkness. We honor her by continuing what she started, by choosing compassion over cruelty, wisdom over tradition. That is her legacy, not monuments, choices, better choices every day. They buried her on the mountain where the twin flames ritual had bound them. Kieran stood over this grave long after others left, spoke to stone and earth and memory. You were right about everything, he said. 10 years of meaning beat 50 years of emptiness. But gods, I wish for both. Wish for more mornings, more battles fought together, more everything, Wind answered. Or maybe memory. Her voice in his mind, though the bond was gone. Live, for both of us. Make it count. So he did. He raised Cassia with fierce love, taught her strategy and compassion, showed her how power serves rather than rules. She grew brilliant, stubborn, more her mother than her father. He led the Reformation for 30 more years, never remarried, never bonded again. Alara had been once and always, but he loved deeply, gave himself to the work, to the purpose, to the dream they built together. The kingdom prospered, the reforms spread to other territories. Generation grew that knew only merit system, only partnership leadership, only service power. When Kieran finally died, old and satisfied, Cassia succeeded him. Not through bloodline, through demonstrated competence, through vote of council and acclaim of people. She ruled differently than her father, more cautiously, more analytically, more like her mother. Guided the kingdom through challenges her parents never faced, extended the Reformation beyond what they thought possible. And when she had daughter of her own, she taught the stories about grandfather Cassius, who died for truth, about grandmother Alara, who burned bright for purpose, about Father Kieran, who learned to balance strength with wisdom, about reformation that began with runaway Omega and cursed king, about love that changed kingdoms, about sacrifice that built legacies. The stories spread, became legend, became truth that transcended fact, and in distant generations, young wolves would look at maps and see patterns, would calculate probability, would feel the moon's blessing stirring. The Moonborn line continued, dormant sometimes, but never extinct. The work never finished, but the foundation held, built by those who chose to burn bright, who sacrificed longevity for meaning, who proved that purpose matters more than lifespan. Their names were remembered, their choices honored, their legacy living not in stone, but in every decision for mercy over cruelty, for partnership over dominance, for wisdom over blind tradition. That was the victory, that was the story, that was enough.